She started as a village healer, but her true power was far more than just mending bones. Nynaeve's story is a testament to an indomitable spirit, transforming from a reluctant leader to an essential figure. Discover the untold depths of her healing abilities and the surprising ways her unwavering resolve saved countless lives and influenced the fate of nations. Let's cut to the chase. When Nynaeve first started patching up scraped knees and fevers in Eamon's Field, no one, not even her, knew she was sitting on a power that could rewrite the wheel of time. She was just the fiery 17-year-old wisdom, the one who'd march through mud to check on a sick farmer at midnight, who'd yell at boys for climbing too high in the oak trees, who'd cry when she couldn't save a stray dog. Healing was her job, sure, but it was more than that. It was her way of loving the village that raised her. But then the Trollocs came, and Mat got stabbed by that cursed Shatter Logoth dagger, and suddenly her job turned into something far bigger, something mysterious, something that would make Aes Sedai drop their teacups. Think about that first real test, Mat's dagger wound. The thing was, poisoning him from the inside out, turning his skin gray, his eyes wild, and no amount of herbs or poultices could touch it. Nynaeve knelt over him in the woods, hands shaking, and didn't just heal his flesh. She tore that darkness out of him, root and branch. No incantations, no fancy Aes Sedai rituals, just raw, unnameable power surging from her like a river. Later, when she tried to explain it to Moiraine, the Aes Sedai just raised an eyebrow and said, "That's not just healing, that's weaving." But Nynaeve didn't care about labels. She cared that Mat was alive. That's the thing about her. She never chased power. Power chased her. And when it caught up, she didn't run from it. She wielded it like a hammer rough, unrefined, and devastatingly effective. Let's talk about the untold depths of her healing, because it wasn't just about mending bones or stopping fevers. Nynaeve could heal broken souls. Remember when Rand started descending into madness, thanks to the Dark One's taint on Seddon? He was hearing voices, seeing shadows, convinced he was going to destroy everyone he loved. The Aes Sedai threw up their hands, said the taint was incurable, that Rand was lost. But Nynaeve, she looked at the man who'd grown up like a brother to her and said, "Like hell he is." She tracked down the most powerful healing weaves in existence, fought through Forsaken traps and Aes Sedai skepticism, and literally purged the taint from his mind. Not just suppressed it, healed it. That's the kind of power no one saw coming. The kind that didn't just save Rand, it saved the entire light. Because without a sane dragon reborn, the last battle would have been over before it started. And let's not forget the time she healed Mat's luck. Yeah, you heard that right. Mat had that cursed fox head medallion and a case of too many memories from the Horn of Valyri. Memories of thousands of lives, thousands of deaths, weighing him down until he could barely function. Nynaeve didn't just patch up his physical wounds, though. She did that too after he got shot with a crossbow. She wove spirit and water into a net that sifted through those chaotic memories, separating the poison from the person. She gave him back his sanity, his identity, his luck. Mat went from a guy who couldn't stop running from his fate to the man who led armies, outsmarted Forsaken, and basically won the last battle with a dice roll and a smile. All because Nynaeve refused to believe some wounds were incurable. Her unwavering resolve, that's where the magic pun absolutely intended really happened. Let's go back to Tar Valon. She walked into the White Tower as a village girl with a sharp tongue and a chip on her shoulder, and the Aes Sedai ate her alive. They told her she was too emotional, too stubborn, too unrefined to ever master the one power. They tried to beat the fire out of her, to make her calm and compliant like all the other novices. But Nynaeve, she fought back. She argued with the Amerlin seat. She snuck out to practice weaves in the river. She refused to be tamed. And when they tried to send her away, she came back stronger. That resolve is what got her through the waste, when she was lost and alone and Moghedien was hunting her. It's what got her through the seanchan captivity when they tried to turn her into a damane, a weapon without a will. It's what got her through the last battle, when the Dark One's corruption was seeping into everything, and she stood on a hilltop, weaving a healing barrier that protected thousands of soldiers from the taint. She never wanted to be a hero, never asked to be the one saving nations. She just wanted to go back to Eamon's Field, patch up scraped knees, and yell at boys for climbing trees. But when the world needed her, she didn't hesitate. She didn't complain. Okay, she complained a lot, but she still did the work. She showed up time and time again because that's who she is. The kind of person who'd rather fight a Forsaken than let a friend suffer. The kind of person who'd rather heal an enemy than let them die. The kind of person who believes in second chances for everyone but herself. But that's a story for another day. Her influence on the fate of nations? Let's count the ways. She healed Rand, the dragon reborn. Without him, the light had no leader. She healed Matt, the military genius. Without him, armies would have fallen to chaos. She healed Egwene, the Amerlin seat. Without her, the Aes Sedai would have been fractured, useless. She even healed the land itself. After the last battle tore it apart, weaving earth and water to mend broken fields and poisoned rivers. Nations rose from the ashes because Nynaeve refused to let the darkness win, because she believed that even the deepest wounds could be healed if you had the courage to keep trying. Here's the thing about Nynaeve's story. It's not just about magic. It's about the mystery of what we're capable of when we refuse to give up. It's about the untold depths of strength that live in the people who just want to do the right thing. She started as a village healer, but she became so much more because she never let anyone, including herself, tell her what she could or couldn't do. Her healing wasn't just about mending bodies. It was about mending hope. It was about showing the world that even when everything seems lost, even when the wounds are too deep, even when the darkness is closing in, there's always a way to heal, always a way to fight, always a way to win. So the next time you hear someone say some things can't be fixed, think of Nynaeve. Think of the village wisdom who healed madness, healed luck, healed nations. Think of the woman who turned her anger into power, her stubbornness into resolve, and her compassion into a force that changed the wheel of time. Her story is a mystery wrapped in courage, a testament to the fact that our greatest power often lies in the things we never saw coming, the things we're too busy loving, too busy fighting, too busy caring to notice. She started as a village healer, but in the end, Nynaeve Almira healed the world. And that's a mystery, no, a miracle worth celebrating. Let's paint the picture. Eamon's Field, the two rivers. Small, quiet. The kind of place where everyone knows your name, your business, and exactly how many times you've snuck out to fish instead of chopping wood. This is where Nynaeve Almira cut her teeth as wisdom, and for 17 years, it was her entire world. She didn't need the wider world. She had turnips to tend, fevers to break, and a village full of people who relied on her common sense, her herbal poultices, and her legendary temper when someone tried to ignore her advice. The Two Rivers wasn't just home, it was a bubble, and Nynaeve liked it that way. Skeptical? Hell, she was outright hostile to anything beyond the Waterwood or the Terran River. Talk of Aes Sedai, Trollocs, or the One Power. She'd snort, cross her arms, and tell you to stop filling young minds with fairy tales. Magic. Witchcraft, more like. The only power she believed in was hard work, a good knife, and knowing which herbs to steep for a cough or to quiet a noisy traveler. But here's the thing about the Two Rivers. It's not as ordinary as it seems. There's a raw, untapped energy in those hills and rivers. Something old, something powerful, that seeps into the bones of the people who grow up there. Nynaeve had it in spades, even if she didn't know it. She could heal a fever that should have killed a child, calm a stormy horse with a word, and sense when someone was lying before they opened their mouth. It wasn't magic to her, it was just being wisdom. Just intuition. Just her. But that raw power was a ticking time bomb, waiting for someone to light the fuse. Enter Moiraine Damodred and Lan Mandragoran, two strangers who blew into Eamon's Field like a storm and shattered Nynaeve's bubble into a million pieces. Let's talk about that first encounter because it's pure, unadulterated chaos, and it's perfect for Nynaeve. Moiraine rolls into town in a fancy coach, wearing silk and a cool smile that says, "I know more than you," and immediately starts asking questions about Rand, Matt, and Perrin. Nynaeve, ever the protector, steps up, hands on hips, and tells her to mind her own business. "This is Two Rivers land," she snaps. "We don't take kindly to strangers poking their noses where they don't belong." Moiraine just smirks and mentions the Dark One and Trollocs, and Nynaeve's blood boils. She thinks Moiraine's a con artist, preying on simple village folk with scary stories. Then Lan tall, quiet, with eyes like flint steps forward, and something in Nynaeve's gut twists. He's not a con artist. He's dangerous. Elaine? She's not lying. That's the first crack in Nynaeve's skepticism. The realization that the world beyond the Two Rivers isn't just fairy tales, it's real, and it's coming for her village. Moiraine doesn't just challenge Nynaeve's beliefs, she dismantles them. She tells Nynaeve she can channel the One Power, that her intuition and healing touch are more than just wisdom's tricks. Nynaeve laughs in her face. "I don't do witchcraft," she says. But then Tamal Thor comes stumbling home, near death from a Trolloc attack, and all her herbal poultices and common sense aren't enough. Tam's wound is festering, his breast shallow, and Nynaeve's panic turns to desperation. Moiraine offers to heal him with the one power, but Nynaeve refuses. She can't let some stranger with magic touch the man who's like a father to her. So she does. The only thing she can, she lays her hands on Tam's chest, closes her eyes, and will him to live. And something happens. Something she can't explain. A warmth surges from her palms, hot and bright, seeping into Tam's body. The festering wound closes. His breathing evens out. When she pulls her hands away, she's shaking, and Moiraine is watching her with that knowing smile. You see, Moiraine says, it's not witchcraft. It's you. That's Nynaeve's first taste of her own power, untamed and entirely instinctual. She didn't train for it, didn't study ancient tomes or learn incantations. She just did it because someone she loved was dying, and she refused to let that happen. That's the mark of her healing in those early days. It's not polished, not precise, but it's feral in its effectiveness. Remember when Mat got stabbed by the Shadar Logoth dagger? They're camped in the woods, miles from Emond's field, and Mat is wasting away, his skin gray, his eyes wild, the darkness of the dagger poisoning him from the inside. Nynaeve doesn't hesitate. She shoves everyone aside, presses her hands to his wound, and lets that raw power pour out of her. She doesn't just mend the flesh, she tears the darkness out of him, root and branch, like she's pulling weeds from a garden. Mat gasps, the color returning to his face, and Nynaeve collapses, exhausted, wondering what the hell just happened. Moiraine tells her it's the one power, that she's a channeler, but Nynaeve still fights it. She doesn't want to be a witch. She just wants to be the wisdom of Emond's field. But the world has other plans. Lan, for his part, doesn't say much, but his presence challenges Nynaeve just as much as Moiraine. He's a warder, a warrior bound to an Aes Sedai, and he's seen more darkness than Nynaeve can imagine. But he doesn't treat her like a naive village girl. He respects her. He listens to her. When she yells at him for taking unnecessary risks, he doesn't argue. He nods, like he knows she's right. When she's exhausted from healing, he hands her a canteen of water and stands guard, silent and steady. Nynaeve isn't used to that. Men in the Two Rivers either tease her or defer to her, but Lan sees her. All of her. The stubbornness, the fear, the raw power. And in that, he gives her something Moiraine can't, validation, that her strength, even the kind she doesn't understand, matters. By the time Nynaeve is forced to leave the Two Rivers, chasing Rand, Mat, and Perrin, to protect them from Moiraine and the Dark One, her skepticism is still there, but it's cracked. She still doesn't trust Aes Sedai, still thinks the wider world is full of liars and fools, but she's starting to trust herself. Trust that the raw power in her bones isn't something to fear. Trust that her instinctual healing isn't witchcraft, it's a gift. Trust that maybe, just maybe, the Two Rivers didn't just raise a wisdom, it raised something more. Oh, something the world desperately needs. That's the beauty of this phase of her journey. She's not a hero yet. She's not a master channeler. She's just a girl from the Two Rivers, scared out of her mind, but refusing to let the people she loves get hurt. Her healing is unrefined, her beliefs are shaken, and she's still ready to yell at anyone who tells her what to do. But that's exactly what makes her so compelling. She's not perfect. She's not polished. She's real. And that raw, unapologetic reality is where her power lies. The Two Rivers gave her roots, common sense, compassion, a refusal to quit. Moiraine and Lan gave her a push, shattering her bubble, making her face the truth of her power. And her untamed healing. That's the fire in her soul, the thing that would carry her through Tar Valon, through the waste, through the last battle. From Two Rivers wisdom to worldly healer. It didn't happen overnight. It happened in the woods, with a dying man and a dagger wound, with strangers who challenged her and a power she didn't understand. But it started there, in that small village, with that fierce young woman who thought her world was as big as the Tarn River. And little did she know, her world was just getting started. Nynaeve al-Miera wasn't just a healer. She was the angriest healer the Wheel of Time ever saw. While other Aes Sedai closed their eyes and calmed their minds to channel the one power, Nynaeve was over here yelling, seething, and turning her rage into the kind of healing that brought people back from the brink of death. Her relationship with the one power wasn't some peaceful partnership. It was a storm, and anger was the lightning. Let's break down how this fiery, messy, unconventional bond turned her from a raw talent into one of the greatest healers of all time. No calm breathing required. First, let's talk about her unique vibe with the one power. Anger wasn't a distraction for Nynaeve. It was the key. Most channelers treat the power like a delicate instrument. You tune it with serenity, play it with precision. Nynaeve treated it like a sledgehammer, and anger was the swing. Remember when Egwene was captured by the White Cloaks and tied to a post, accused of witchcraft? Nynaeve showed up, saw her friend scared and hurt, and something snapped. She didn't close her eyes and meditate. She screamed. She cursed. She let that red-hot rage flood her veins, and suddenly, the one power was there, wild, fierce, and unstoppable. She wove fire to burn the ropes, air to knock the White Cloaks off their feet, and then dropped to Egwene's side, her hands still shaking with anger, and healed her wounds in seconds. That's how she rolled. Anger wasn't a flaw. It was a trigger. It made the power sit up and pay attention. When she was mad at injustice, mad at loss, mad at the Dark One for messing with the people she loved, the power flowed like it was scared of her. Other Aes Sedai might have clucked their tongues and called it unrefined, but Nynaeve didn't care. It worked. And when lives were on the line, unrefined beat polite and useless every time. But here's the catch, that anger was a double-edged sword. For every time it saved someone, it threatened to burn her out, or worse, hurt someone she cared about. Emotional control? Nynaeve didn't just struggle with it, she fought it like it was a Trolloc. Remember her early training in Tar Valon? The Aes Sedai tried to teach her to suppress her passions, to channel without letting her emotions get in the way. She'd sit cross-legged, trying to calm her mind, and nothing would happen. Then she'd get frustrated, really frustrated, yell at the instructor, and suddenly the power would surge, knocking over chairs or setting a tapestry on fire. It was chaos. Once, she tried to heal a novice with a broken wrist, but she was still mad about a fight she'd had with Egwene earlier. Her anger got the better of her, and the power hit the novice too hard, healing the wrist, but leaving a bruise the size of a fist. Nynaeve felt terrible, and she sat in the corner, kicking herself, thinking, why can't I just be calm like everyone else? That's the struggle. Her anger was what made her powerful, but it was also what held her back. She couldn't channel without it, but she couldn't channel well with too much of it. It was like trying to ride a wild horse pull too hard, and it bucks you off, let go completely, and it runs into a tree. The turning point? When she stopped trying to suppress her anger and started trying to harness it. Mastery didn't mean becoming calm. It meant becoming the one holding the reins. Let's talk about the time Rand was poisoned by the Dark One's touch during the last battle. His body was shutting down, his mind clouded, and the Aes Sedai were helpless. Nynaeve showed up, and yeah, she was furious at the Dark One for hurting Rand, furious at the situation, furious that no one else could fix it. But this time, she didn't let the anger control her. She let it fuel her. She closed her eyes, not to calm down, but to focus, to take that red-hot rage and shape it, mold it, turn it into something precise. She wove spirit and water and earth, not in a wild burst, but in careful, deliberate threads. Threads that sought out the poison, wrapped around it, and pulled it out of Rand's body. She didn't yell. She didn't curse. She just focused, using her anger like a furnace to melt the darkness away. When she was done, Rand opened his eyes, and Nynaeve collapsed. Not from rage, but from the quiet, controlled power she just wielded. That's the shift, from instinct to intention. From, I'm mad, so I channel, to I'm mad, so I channel this, exactly what's needed. She kept learning, kept refining. She'd still get angry. Oh, she'd never lose that fire, but now she knew how to turn it up or down, like a dial. When she needed to heal a tiny wound on a child, she'd let the anger soften into fierce protectiveness, weaving gentle threads of power that didn't scare the kid. When she needed to purge a Forsaken's taint from a village, she'd crank that anger up to 11, weaving a storm of healing that cleansed everything in its path. She didn't become a different person. She became a better version of herself. The Aes Sedai finally stopped telling her to calm down and started asking her to teach them. Young novices would watch her wide-eyed as she wove power with a scowl and a curse and think, maybe I don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Here's the thing about Nynaeve's journey. She didn't just master the one power. She mastered herself. She stopped fighting her anger and started working with it. She learned that emotional control isn't about being emotionless. It's about being in charge of your emotions. Her healing didn't get less fierce when she learned to control it. It got more effective, more targeted, and more human because it still carried all that fire, all that love, all that stubborn refusal to let anyone suffer. It just had direction now. By the end of the last battle, she wasn't just the angriest healer, she was the best. She healed Rand's shattered body. She purged the taint from countless soldiers. She even healed the land itself, weaving power to mend broken fields and poisoned rivers. And she did it all with that same fire in her eyes, that same refusal to back down. The only difference? Now she knew how to aim it. Nynaeve's story isn't just about magic. It's about embracing the parts of yourself that you think are flaws. It's about learning that your anger, your passion, your stubbornness, they're not weaknesses. They're strengths. You just have to learn how to use them. She didn't become calm to be powerful. She became powerful because she wasn't calm, because she cared too much, fought too hard, and refused to let the world beat her down. So the next time you're told to calm down when you're mad, think of Nynaeve. Think of the healer who turned rage into redemption, who turned instinct into mastery, who proved that the best way to unlock your potential is to stop fighting who you are. She was the angriest healer around, and she saved the world, anger and all.